What's up, and welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA, the biggest stories with the local experts. I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, also host of Locked On Rockets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Today, we'll be joined by Jake Madison from Locked On Pelicans as the New Orleans Pelicans take Game 4 in decisive fashion from the Phoenix Suns, knotting up this series at 2 games apiece. Could the Pelicans be on the way to upsetting the number 1 seeded Phoenix Suns in the Western Conference? Devin Booker isn't walking through that door anytime soon. But first, a quick message from our friends over at Athletic Greens. So what is Athletic Greens? What is AG1? Basically, AG1 is a delicious scoop of high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food-sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens that you can throw in a cup of water, shake it up, drink it every single day to take care of your body, to invest in your own body health. Helps you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all the things that you should care about. Tons of people take some kind of a multivitamin, right? And it's important to choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb. AG1 is a small micro habit with a big benefit. It's one thing that you can do every single day to take great care of yourself. It's cheaper than getting all the different supplements yourself. You're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. And to make it super easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your very first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NBA network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NBA network to finally take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Joining us now is none other than Jake Madison himself from Locked On Pelicans. You can follow him on Twitter at Nola. Jake, what a Game 4 from this exciting young New Orleans Pelicans team, pretty much upsetting the Phoenix Suns here. I don't know about you, Jake, but there was this moment in the fourth quarter of this game where the Pels had the lead 88-83, and you maybe had this slight fear that there was maybe that possibility of like a young team kind of letting go of the rope a little bit and succumbing to the veteran presence of this, battle-tested Phoenix Suns team. And the complete opposite happened, a 19-2 run to basically seal this game and put away the Phoenix Suns. Just absolutely astonishing. What was going through your mind in that fourth quarter as the Pelicans were making their push to close this one out?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? It's different than games 1 and 3 where they had a lead going into the fourth quarter, and then Chris Paul just became alive in both of those fourth quarters and slammed the door in their faces. So you could see that coming, and you had to figure that New Orleans was at least going to be prepared for it in this game, and they were. They figured out what worked in the second half, and then they rode that throughout the fourth, and it frustrated Chris Paul all night long. You saw rookie Jose Alvarado rattling the point guard in a way that I don't think I've ever seen him kind of rattled before. Turnovers, technical fouls called against him. Jose Alvarado even got one of those sneaky steals of his, which Chris Paul knows he does. And then it allowed Herb Jones to kind of be freed up and just end any offense for the Phoenix Suns. He was flying around, blocking 3-point shots. Just a complete turnaround from what we've seen early on in the series in games 1 and games 3 when it was the Chris Paul show in the fourth.
Absolutely. No, those two rookies. I mean, honestly, Jake, I haven't seen Chris Paul this rattled in a playoff atmosphere since Game 6 against the Houston Rockets back in his LA Clippers days. I mean, I'm thinking the collapse, when the Rockets managed their 3-1 comeback. But yeah, this kind of rivals that. He just very much deer in headlights. Look, he had 2 buckets early in this game in the first quarter and then was scoreless the rest of the game. That is so uncharacteristic, especially after the displays that we saw in the earlier games in this series with no Devin Booker closing out the Pelicans last game. Like, this was not vintage point guard material whatsoever. But on the flip side, on a positive note for the Pelicans, at least, Brandon Ingram, has taken his play to another level. First player in Pelicans history to score 30 plus in 3 consecutive games in the playoffs. Are we seeing Ingram unlock another, the next level of his game?
Yeah, I think so. You could see it early on in him in this one. He scored 11 points in the first quarter, and he just kind of had that look about him that he was not going to let this team lose. And beyond just his scoring, right? 30 points in this one, he was excellent. Being aggressive, attacking the basket, getting to his spots in mid-range where he's just basically automatic at this point. But he played with a level of defensive intensity I don't think I've ever seen him play. That was easily the best defensive game he's ever had. He just felt like a different player in that one, trying to do anything he could to get this Pelicans team to a victory, to even this series up and extend it. And he's been the best player for this team. You could argue that he's been the best player in the series at various points. And you're seeing him just kind of get into the biggest stage and rise to the challenge. This is his first time in the postseason. He never made it with the Lakers. He hadn't made it before with New Orleans. This is his first time in this type of experience, and he seems absolutely ready for it.
Absolutely. Brandon Ingram just kind of, feeding off of this like infectious level of defense that is coming out of his teammates, right? With Herb Jones, with the insane blocks that he's having, with just the tenacious level of play that he has on that side of the court. Then you got Jose Alvarado. These are guys that you can feed off of that level of energy. And it seems like Brandon Ingram has been able to do that and kind of tone his defense up another couple notches as well because of that. But another guy that was so impactful in this game, Jake, Jonas Valunciunas, who, despite some, we'll call it minimal effectiveness in the middle games of this series, came out swinging in a big way in this game for it. And he was a huge part, if not maybe one of the, possibly the MVP of this game, just because of that huge run. And he was a big part of that heat check 3-pointer that went down. And then Smoothie King Center went wild for it. It was a big turning point in this game.
Yeah, he's been at times quiet in this series, but he was arguably the MVP, as you said, of this game. I really do think that. He had 11 points in the fourth quarter. Brandon Ingram didn't make a shot in the fourth quarter. It was kind of the Jonas Valunciunas show, really closing the door, and he's been a big part of why New Orleans has won the rebounding battle in every single game. And then you saw him bring it offensively in this one. They realized that he was just kind of bulldozing DeAndre Ayton down low, lowering his shoulder, backing him up, playing this old school kind of basketball, and it was effective, so they kept going to him. He would get the ball kind of on the elbow and either back a guy down or just kind of turn, pivot, and be able to kind of rim run and score. And you saw him be able to put those shots up, and they had no answer for it. And you saw Willie Green, head coach, make a couple of good adjustments in his rotations. You had a guy like JaVale McGee who really hurt New Orleans in game 3, 11 points off the bench in that one. He decided to make sure that when McGee was out there, so was Valunciunas, who really limited the effectiveness of that second unit for the Phoenix Suns. He was massive in this one. Brandon Ingram doesn't have 30 and play with that kind of level of defense. It's an easy argument for why Valunciunas was the best player in this game.
Yeah, they had a very healthy two-man game working there for stretches of this one where they were both getting each other some really quality looks, some great opportunities offensively, really feeding off of each other in this game. Now, Jake, as we're kind of eyes ahead now to game 5 in this series, one, just how can the Pelicans kind of carry this momentum, into the next game in the series, and what changes, if any, are you hoping to see out of this squad now that it's down to being a best of 3 series?
Yeah, look, there's still home court advantage for the Phoenix Suns. They're still a really good team. I have a sneaking suspicion we might see Devin Booker in game 5 too, so that's obviously going to be a concern for New Orleans. But they definitely figured out how to play Chris Paul. And I think if you can carry that going forward, particularly if there is no Devin Booker, that's going to open the door massively for New Orleans to be able to get this win. So Willie Green, after 3 games, finally got his rotations right. He'd made some key kind of errors early on in this series. They were pretty much dead on how you'd want to see them from him in this game. And if they can defend Chris Paul at that level, if he is going to be rattled by a guy like Jose Alvarado and to a lesser extent Herb Jones, New Orleans is going to have a very good chance to try and advance in this one. That's kind of what I hope to see in game 5.
Could the New Orleans Pelicans be on their way to upsetting the number 1 seeded Phoenix Suns? Of course, you'll have us covered for all of that and more action over at Locked On Pelicans. Jake, appreciate you stopping by Locked On NBA with me.
Of course, thanks for having me on, Jackson.